We are live. Hi guys, how are you both today?
Fandabidosi. All good, mate.
Good. Hope everyone's well, and welcome to Triple Crown Industry Chat. Haven't a clue which number it is, but episode 36 I've got down
36.
here.
36.
If it's correct. So 36. But how's your week been, both of you?
Do you want to go first, Jay?
You know what? Really good. And it's nothing to do with work. Probably the past 6 weeks, I've been focused more on health and exercise. And I've realised something profound. I'm a bit like Buddha in this respect. I said it when I rest. I'm more about buying time than buying things. So if I've got £1,000, I'm not like, I need a new watch. I'm like, I'm going to pay someone to do shit that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
That is wealth to me. And it's just like a light bulb, because now I've worked out 2 hours today, an hour every day, probably for the past 6 weeks. And it's because of giving somebody else, get somebody else to do that. Get somebody else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And funnily enough, I'm more productive than I've been in ages, probably years, in fact. So yeah, good. All good. JP?
Good. Yeah, been really, really busy. I mean, we had the property market conference. I think it was last week. I can't remember. If it wasn't, it was the week before.
It sounded like it was very good by the sense.
It was, you know, it was excellent. I was down there for 2 days because obviously it takes me ages to get down there where I live. So I went down the night before. It was really sad, actually. So I was at my auntie's funeral on the afternoon, on the Thursday afternoon. Just 80-odd-year-old, really healthy, the fittest out of all the brothers and sisters, like my mum, fitter than my mum, just driving a car and kind of blacked out and like 20 mile an hour, 50 mile an hour, just like slightly went into another car. Took her around home. She was only a couple of 100 yards away from home. Straight to hospital. 4 hours later, she passed.
Wow.
So I was presenting an award show down the HMO Awards down in Milton Keynes. So I got a call from my brother. I was literally about to go on stage and present an award, and I got a text off my brother saying, "Can you call me?" I kind of knew. I thought it was about my mum, to be fair. So anyway, 30 seconds, did it, came back. Everything all right? Is mum all right? Yeah, but it's Auntie Margaret. You need to come back. So anyway, came back. Thankfully, I got there like 10:30 on the night, and then she passed about 40 minutes later. But it was this is typical like northern ex-Irish sort of like former Irish sort of sense of humour. You're like this, Jerry. So my uncle, my mum's like late 70s. My 2 uncles are in their 80s. All 3 of them are deaf as a post. All 3 of them need hearing aids, and all 3 of them have got no filter on them. So when it's dead quiet, and we're all Catholic. So we're in there, and one of them turns around and goes, "This place is bloody falling apart." And another one says, "Well, that's the bloody Catholics for you." But they're saying it so loud, everybody can hear it. And my mum was like, "Will you behave? We're here for our Margaret. Will you pack it in? She'll be turning in a grave." And then went quiet. And then was it, "I didn't like that coffin." Like another one says, "I wouldn't pick that." And my mum says, "I'll pick your next coffin for you if you're not bloody quiet." And it's so loud. Everyone's like trying not to laugh and stuff. And like, Mum, the entire congregation can hear. You what?
They think they're whispering.
They're not. Yeah. But you're right, they do.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But people that I'm happy it just was a heart attack.
Aneurysm, like a massive aneurysm. Like because when I was driving back, I was saying to Jamie, my brother, they were saying there's nothing they can do. Well, I'm quite black and white. No, I want to know why. What is the reason they can't do anything? There's got to be something. Why can't they operate? If they said, "Look, she's too old," the anaesthetic, I get it. But they basically turned around and said it was a catastrophic aneurysm. Like when they went in and took the scan, see, or whatever it is. Like normally when you get like a bleed on the brain, there's like an inch round or something. Her entire skull was covered. So it was like and they basically said arteries just get thin when they get on a little bit. Like when they get older, and it just went. But yeah, so that was on the afternoon on the Thursday. If nothing else, we give her a good send off. I couldn't go to the wake because I had to go down on property mark, but it was I was chuckling on the train down. But yeah, and then the conference was good. That was good. We saw Phil Spencer. He was a very good speaker, and really good was Claire Williams. Claire Williams, the of Williams Motorsport, the Formula One.
Oh right,
Yeah,
is she the fellow who started it? Is it Frank Williams?
yeah, exactly. So he had.
That's interesting.
I didn't realise he was I think it was a paraplegic or a quadriplegic or something.
Yeah.
Brought his back neck or something. She was really good, very articulate. And Harry Truman, who's going to be the next Isle President, she interviewed her and did a really grand job. And it was it was good. I enjoyed that. I did. Sometimes I think, will I? Because it's not my sport. I'm not really interested in it. But it was just a really good story. And it was she had.
Go on, mate. There's something you said there.
Yeah, it was just really, really good. At one point, she was the second ever female, like what they call them, like principal of a racing team. And then the other person, I can't remember who it was actually, but she did mention it was like a foreign sounding name. She sort of retired or left, and then she was the only one. But one of the other good questions was like, did gender ever come in it? And she was like, no, of course it never. Like in her, like it wasn't a problem for her. If it's a problem for other people, then that's other people's fault. It was never an issue for her, which I thought was a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was good. Yeah, and it was come
where was it again? Excel. Was it?
It was at the Excel Centre, which was so much better than last year because they were at Wembley last year, and it was just the layout of it wasn't so good. But this year they had a huge exhibition thing. It was great, really well attended, lots of exhibitors. They had lots of like little breakout rooms and stuff. Nathan Emerson came on, he gave a really good speech. Some really good talkers. There was a good guy, Dave Garland, who's the American, works for American country. He's on AI and generative AI and LLMs and stuff, and where that's heading and where that's going. And as a presenter, he's probably one of the best I've ever seen in any industry. He's just so confident. He's just really, really good. But yeah, that went down storm. And then on the boat, the Sunborn, on the night time, loads of people out there having a good time. So it was good. I did a backdoor job as always, 9:45, straight to bed.
Bedtime.
That's about an hour longer than I'd have lasted.
Well, it was actually less as well. 9:15. I went for a kebab first and then went to bed.
You just skipped the middle bit.
I did. What were you, Paul? What were you been up to?
What I've been up to, been trying to get used to my daughter being at home because obviously she's finished school, and all of a sudden I realised that I love her, but she's there a little bit too much now. So we've got that change. So she finished her GCSEs, and we've got this sort of 10-week holiday, I think they called it. So we're in a polite way suggesting that she should get a job. But yeah, so
can't you get a job at your agency? The agency, no?
Yes, that's what the rest of the family said. And I said, I'd rather her experiment something else first of all, because she's only young still. I went straight into it at 16, but I just think I'd like her to experiment a bit more. But yeah, so that's that, and then lots of golf at the moment, trying to get back into golf. So enjoying that at the moment. So hopefully that
you were a golfer.
Used to play a lot, hell of a lot when I was young, and should have been doing a lot of other things. But yeah,
I mean, now you say it, I can see you as a golfer because you've got that sort of American Republican congressman look. And I can imagine you, makes sense. Makes sense.
All good. So, Jerry, you were going to chat to us about something, weren't you, in particular?
Yes. Why homeowners switch estate agents. So, right, I'll give you a little bit of context. So we've got a new guide coming out this week. And it's around how you switch estate agents if your home isn't selling. So part of the research was I put a post out on Facebook and WhatsApped a few people that I know, family and friends and that, to say, if you've ever sold a house, have you ever swapped halfway through? And surprisingly, there was loads of responses. I've probably got about 20, 25 people get back to me and go, yeah. So obviously I'm asking, well, what were the reasons? The reasons, 3 of them, were nearly all the same in different orders, but all the same. It was almost universal what they came up with. You want to know the first one? So yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah. Right. So the first one was overvaluation, right?
Okay.
Which you don't really need an explanation about that, and we know why certain agents overvalue. It's nonsense, in my opinion. The other was overpromising. Like one of my cousins said, yeah, this estate agent promised me pretty much everything apart from me getting to sleep with Kylie Minogue. This is what he said to me, right? So the overpromising, but the overpromising, and I took the notes because it's in the guide. Buyers ready to go. You know, like, oh, if you come on with us, I was waiting for this one.
Yeah.
We'll sell within your time frame, guaranteed. That was from a mate. He got told, no, I guarantee you we'll sell it in 6 weeks. Funnily enough, 4 weeks into it, guess what happens? The agent goes, oh yeah, no, the market's turned. So overvalue, overpromise, and the one I thought was the most simple, under-delivering on service. Yeah. And you know what the most common complaint was? They never called me back.
Communication.
Yeah. Do you know? It's so simple. It's like, I just can't get my head around that one. Do you know what I mean? But that was the most common gripe: calls and emails not being returned.
Can I just jump in on that, Jerry, and just absolutely back you up with this? So, I don't know if you've heard, but I've started a little tech company called Prospect. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned it. Anyway, this is amazing. So, agent signed up about a month ago, and because we integrate with Street and Reaper, we can tell you at a glance, your entire team, how many calls are overdue. So every time you make a call, you call anybody, there should be a follow-up date at some point in the future to call them back, be that next week, next month, next year, whenever. And it's one thing that we used to tell our guys as well, is that unless they say, you ever call me again, I'm going to come and beat you up, or I'm going to get a restraining order, you should always have a follow-up date. Now, we pull what that follow-up date is. So whenever there's a follow-up date and it goes a minute past it, it rings up in Prospect Pro as an overdue call, right? One agent, 2 branches, said, "Oh, we're a good agency. We've got so they're a good agent. I won't embarrass them, won't say the names or anything. Hooked into our system straight away. We found there was about 290 overdue calls for 2 branches." So we said that can't be the case, and we said, well, look, and I said, at the the best chance you've got of reducing that is that the team are not using the follow-up or the reminder dates correctly enough. So they're just not putting them in. At the very, very worst, they are not calling back people when they said they would. So it reduced from 290 to 180. 180 times, I said 180 on 180 separate occasions, somebody from your team has promised to call back a client and they haven't.
Wow.
100, and these are a good agent. These are a good agent. They're probably market leaders in one branch and 2 or 3 in another branch.
Imagine what they could be like if they were calling back that 180.
Mate,
so they'd be great. Surely.
It's the simplest things, isn't it? It's like calling back. There's another agent who said, who beta tested our system, and he said pretty much exactly the same. And there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of overdue calls. Hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that we're finding out being demos. So people book a demo with us, we've got a 30% no-show rate. 30%. Yeah, and they're the ones that booked it.
That doesn't surprise me. I know from myself, people jumping on and booking an appointment, and you'll either get a message 5 minutes before you're due to jump on the call, or they just don't show. You know,
but is it any wonder that? But I think how you do the little things is how you do everything. Yeah. And if you can't even be asked to show up to a demo, it's just it's impolite, it's rude, and it actually tells me all I need to know about you. Yeah. Unless there's a genuine reason. But so far, we've not had a single genuine reason. There was a lady the other day said, "Oh, I've got to go pick my little boy." Absolutely fine, no problem. We rescheduled it and we did it today. Don't mind that. These are literally no shows. You're on the call, it gets to 10 past whatever, and you're like, but so from not returning calls to not showing up on demos, I've always said this: if you want to be in the top half of estate agents in the UK, just do not be shit.
Yeah.
In the top 50%.
Yeah. You know what? I totally agree. But you know what? I think that can apply to most businesses.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm staggered at some of. We've had quotes for some blinds around the house. I'm staggered how bad some companies are.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, how do they survive? But these are companies. These are big household names as well. Some of them.
really.
Just Jerry, just going back to those points that you raised. Well, I don't know what you think, but I think the best agents or the very good agents, what they actually do is when they're at the valuations or even in their marketing, they address those things that you raised, that, you know, those concerns that maybe pop up often, or those problems that pop up, and they'll make it very clear in their marketing or at the valuation. You know, this is our process, this is our promise. Obviously, one of those was the promise, but if they show stats on, you know, number of price reductions, our reviews that talk about communication, other things such as, you know, direct communication, how we deal with communication in the office with regards to access to me or how quick you should get a call back. Do you agree with that? Would you say the best agents actually look at making sure that they're really covering those?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think it's the best ones are good at educating people what to expect. And now this is something as well, I said it in the email when we were talking about what we're going to talk about today. And I said it to Stephen Brown the other day, I was chatting with him. I said that the industry bodies, and somebody will win my vote for this, by the way. Am I allowed to vote in property, Mark? I'm not an estate agent, am I? I'm not allowed to vote.
You've got to be Arla registered, I'll get it changed when I'm ruler, Lord Ruler.
But here's what I think you should run on, right? Here's what you should run on. You, JP's campaign, will educate, put money, resources. They've got resources, property, Mark. You just had a big event in the Excel. You got money you can put into educational content. Get someone good to do it. I'm not going to say no names, but get someone good to do it. I ain't going to do it because I'm too busy in the gym now. I'm going to turn myself into Matt Steinway, but the UK version. Right. But I'm serious about this. People said to us, and one of our questions that we asked this little research group that I had for this guide was, well, what difference do you think an estate agent can make? And even Wendy, who has heard loads of conversations and know loads of agents, well, Wendy, my partner, went, well, to be honest, all I think they do is plonk it on Rightmove.
Rightmove, yeah.
That's Wendy. She's heard. Do you know what I mean? They need to educate. And I think it's best to come from an industry body with thousands of members. So either the Property Mark or the Guild, a group with scale and resources, need to do a campaign where they educate sellers. What does a good estate agent do? Yeah. What does a good estate agent do? And I think that educational piece, Paul, like you, to go back to what you said, I think the best agents do that. They say, right, this is our process. This is what we do. Here's our promise. And they stick by the promise. We'll call you back in a certain time. They'll turn up for prospector pro calls, that sort of thing. So I think there's a big educational piece to go around it, because the people that I spoke to, know, like with their family and friends, so they could be honest, and that was the thing I found very interesting. So this weren't a survey where, you know, like weren't a massive, but they were honest with me, like, and they know I work with estate agents as well. When they were messaging me back, you know, well, some of them were really good, blah, blah. A couple of mates, to be fair, one of them said he felt really, really bad about switching agents, but the agent who he got in the second time around was just so much better. He said, I really liked agent one, and I listened to his excuses and all this sort of stuff. Agent two came in, my mate rang him and said, could you come in? And he said it was just like night and day in approach. So, yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned about the Guild. We haven't mentioned about the Guild and Fine and Country being sold, have we?
Yeah.
That was huge news, wasn't it?
Big one. Big group now, isn't it?
It's massive. It is. It's huge. It's. I think it's a great move. I mean, I know. I think it was in my group, a couple of people saying cheap at half the price, and this is this. And I did ask the question. I was genuine to say, well, how do you value it? Like, why do you think it's cheap based on what? I don't think anyone knew, really. Nobody could definitively say whether it was good or not. And my sort of take on this, if somebody's happy in selling it and somebody's happy in buying it for that price, then it's a good deal. Property Franchise Group have definitely got the cash. And I think the way that it's structured is good for the Nurture Group. And Nurture can be all techie now. They don't have to be a mixture of tech companies and a bit of a membership company as well. But hopefully everybody's happy. I mean, the most important thing is the members, isn't it? It's to make sure that all the finer country guys and gals and the guild members, they're looked after. But it's definitely movers and shakers in the industry at the minute. A lot of acquisitions and a lot of consolidation moves going on.
I wonder what it means to the home seller, the bloke who's got a 3-bedroom, the family got a 3-bedroom semi in. I'm trying to think of somewhere random. Winnersh.
Winnersh, you've just made that up, haven't you?
Now, Paul, you're from the south. Winnersh. Wokingham. Let's go Wokingham. That definitely exists.
Yeah, I know that one.
Wokingham. Yeah. What does it mean to them that? Do you know what I mean? The guild have been taken over. Probably
nothing. Probably nothing at all.
But if anyone's listening from the guild, Finer Country, the Property Franchise Group, do some content for your members on educating the sellers of what good agents actually do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's so important.
Well, that's why when we worked together, and I originally got the idea of Perry Power years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
He had like a 10 or 11 step process, and then we worked on our 12-step process, didn't we, Jerry? And it's in the absence of differentiation, people buy on price. And I actually picked this up from Finer Country when I had the agency and we had a Finer Country sort of territory. And I quite like the way that they said it. They said the best way to describe it is you don't go toe to toe with Tyson. You if he's strong here, you go down there. And it was the same with Finer Country. So if they went up against an independent could compete on customer service and the customer experience, they spoke about advertising and exposure, which they know the independent couldn't. However, if they went up against like a Savills or a Strutton Parker, who had equally as big an advertising budget and probably similar exposure, but they knew because they weren't local, so they went in the customer experience angle, the customer service. And I really, really like that. So I think that's, again, you've got to know your competitors as well. So, I know we don't, and I wrote a post yesterday about don't focus on your competitors. What I meant by that was in a different context to here. You've got to know your competitors to help shape your sales pitch. And it is a pitch, let's be honest. Yeah. What I meant yesterday was don't be hung up on, Jerry Lyons is doing really well at selling houses, boo-hoo, and get upset and put you off your stride. But I quite like the Finer Country model and how they taught you to broach the subject.
Yeah. No,
and Jerry, you mentioned something before, didn't you, with what John's saying there about identifying one thing that your competitor can't compete with, one thing that you're better than anyone at?
Well, that was ages ago. Was that the category of one we were talking about? Yeah.
Made me think when John was saying about, coming up with your, knowing your competitors and what you can't compete with but can compete with. I think even if you can just pull out that one thing and really...
What's interesting, I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time, but I was speaking to one of Charlotte's football coaches, and he said and he does the academy boys at Brighton, and he's gone. He said what the really good players have is one thing they are outstanding at. He said the top pros, they'll have one outstanding thing. He said they'll be good at loads of different stuff, but there's one thing they're outstanding at. Yeah. So if you look at somebody like the French lad N'Golo Kante, it's tackling, it's winning the ball back. He's like amazing at it. Do you know what I mean? And I think some of the best agents, and you'll all know this better than me, you two, will not be amazing at marketing, or they'll be amazing at training their team, or they'll be amazing at tech, but they'll have something that is outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So,
I like that. I mean, we used to call it an SOS, show off statement. So when you went in, you'd say, thanks for choosing, Lyons Sales and Lettings, and you'd go through the thing, and then just let you know, this is the reason why we sell more, and you niche down. So when you make it about them and their property, so say it's Jerry, you live in like a 3-bedroom bungalow in wherever. I wouldn't talk about we sell more houses in the area. I'd talk about why we sell more bungalows in the area, just like yours.
Yeah.
And then if I didn't sell bungalows, I'd say we sell more houses in your street.
Yeah.
And if I did in your street, in your estate. And if I didn't, I'd bugger off and wouldn't try and sell the house. But you see what I mean? You niche it down.
You know what? We did that with an article about, it's probably 4 years ago. And it was winter maintenance for your house.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was winter maintenance for your bungalow. And honestly, it was literally, I think we changed 2 lines in it.
Makes a difference, though.
And one of them went, we should have just put, you need a shorter ladder for everything. But having said that, niche, I know I think it's along the coast. I think they were called just bungalows. I'd love to know if they're still, I'm going to Google them afterwards and see if they're in existence. Yeah. But then, like JP said, I live in a bungalow. Somebody comes to me and go, right, it's a bit like, I don't know, somebody who sells a certain type of car. So you've got a second-hand Land Rover, Range Rover. Are you going to go to the one who's got a big car lot and say, yeah, I'll buy that off you, mate, and that'll be one of my 50 different motors? Or the Land Rover bloke who goes, I'm going to give you the best price. The reason I'm going to get you the best price is because I get the best price. Yeah. So that's why you can pay more, because he gets more. It's simple sum. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's a good point that you've got to specialize, not generalize. And I know it's quite hard because we want to take on commercials and big houses and little houses and everything in between. But you know,
you can't be all good. Look at us three, yeah. The reason why we're relatively successful is we specialized. Yeah. I couldn't write. So when I started off, I could have probably earned good money doing loads of different blogs for loads of different industries. I did it for a while. I had a milkshake company, right? This is true. Milkshake company, a finance guy, an estate agent, a window cleaning franchise, things like that, right? But I realized that's not where it's at. Because my sale became so much easier when I was approaching the likes of you guys, I specialize in estate agency. I know what to write when it comes to estate agency. I've been doing it for however many years. Estate agency, yeah, that's a bit better than the copywriter who's doing 10 different things and doesn't really understand that I'm not interested in getting the buyer's attention. I want the seller's attention. So things like that. Yeah. I think it's.
I like that. That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean? I tell you what's interesting as well, just while I'm on the old fitness hyper focus, is you talk about niching down. I've noticed that the content I'm consuming around health is from people aimed at my age. So it's men at 50 plus, men at 45 plus. They're doing clever things as well, these marketeers. They're saying, dads, really you're a busy dad, you need to do this sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's there's something in that niche thing as well. Really
we've narrowed down our ICP in Prospector Pro, so ideal customer profile. So we were looking at it all wrong when we first started building it. So we were looking at, do we go for small, like single agents, independent, like regional, if you last like a couple of branches, and then corporates? And we're like, oh, well, we'll do this, we'll do it. It's not. Our niche straddles all three stratas. So ours is tech-enabled agents who value prospecting. Right. So if you don't think prospecting is great, then we're not for you. Yeah. If you're not techie in a slight, and I mean techie as in like you've got a good CRM, like a Street or a Reaper or an Alto, then we're not for you. It doesn't matter who we are. If it's a single branch, a multi-branch, like we just signed up Balgores, Martin Gerard's coming on board. We're getting rolled out into a couple of your moves just to test out before we get rolled across the whole LSL. So it doesn't make a difference. It could be Craig at Northwall, right? You know, single branch, 6-7 staff, smashing it. Urban and rural, 3 or 4 branches. Martin Gerard, 14 branches. Balgores, 9 branches. Hopefully LSL, it doesn't matter. But we're niching down. They've got to value tech, and they've got to value prospecting. Either one of them, it doesn't. And they've got to have strong leadership as well. There's been a couple of times where we've done demos and they've said, oh, I'm not sure if our team would like that. Well, I'll stop you there. We're not for you.
Oh, you know what? I can remember that when we launched the guides, right? The first 3 guides we did back 3 years ago. Downsizing, divorce, and I can't remember what the other one was. Death, downsizing, divorce. Absolutely smashed it, right? Like it was a no-brainer. Everyone that got them said, right, we'll have them. This one guy, and he's a good guy. I like him a lot. You know what he said? I've asked my sales manager, and he said, well, we've never really needed them before, so... But things are changing. Do you know what I mean? And
it's like we said with the tech, like the one there was a lady actually who said, oh, I don't know if my team would like it. And I said, I'll be honest, we're not for you. But it's like turkeys voting for Christmas, isn't it? It's like, hang on, so your sales manager's not doing prospecting, and we want to sell a tool in that's going to actually tell you exactly how much activity they're making, they're doing. And they don't want this in here, and you're worried about that.
It is so interesting. I don't know whether you saw, I think I posted it in your group online, JP, about my mate who's got the building company. And
yes.
Did you see his recruitment policy?
Pleb. Pleb. Loved it.
Right, so I don't know whether you saw it, Paul, right? So I've got mates who've got a
Brilliant.
really good building company. It's like 30 to 40 people, seasonal and this sort of stuff. Absolutely smashes it, but takes immense pride in his work. His vans don't look like builders' vans. They look like, I don't know, like Ubers, a good Uber. And he's got this, he said to me, and he's really straight talking, he went, I don't employ plebs. And he went, I'll break it down for you, Gerald. He went, anyone who walks past the problem, I'll get rid of, because what happens is it's never their responsibility. He said, liars, to be fair, he went, like, because he's dealing with builders, he said, look, if somebody turns up on a Monday, right, and they say they're ill when they go home, he said, 9 times out of 10, they've been on the piss on the Sunday. He said, I'll let them off that first one. I won't have, I'll let go of a fib, but I won't tolerate liars. So plebs, liars, excuse makers. What was the other one?
Bullshit.
Blame. No, blame it was, because he said a lazy person blames somebody for them not having to do that thing. So what you're saying there, JP, you've got the sales manager going, no, that will never work, because he's thinking, bloody hell, that's going to make more work for me. Do you know what I mean? Or they'll find something. The tech, you see people, like, what I found is interesting. I saw there was a debate, I think it was in your group again, JP, where somebody said this piece of software, this CRM, is rubbish.
Oh, yeah.
But there's loads of people that love that bit of software, in fairness to them.
It was, wasn't there? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I know some people absolutely love it. But why have 2 or 3 people had such a bad experience?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was life cycle, wasn't it?
Well, I was just being diplomatic, but bosh, yeah, just saying.
Well, that's one of them softwares that, like, you get people who absolutely rave about it, or people who say it's not for me. But you're always going to get that, aren't you? It's like some people might not like me, and who like you, Paul, and don't like. It's just that. But the thing I think is, I'd rather people say they don't like it, right, because they've tried it. What sort of it doesn't annoy us, because I don't really give a shit. But what, like, sort of makes me smile and go, like, roll my eyes is when people go, oh, 1090 is the best out there. And you're like, oh, have you tried the best? Yeah. Like, if you tried every single one and you've tested it and you've compared and you've contrasted it and da-da-da. No, then how can you say it's the best? You can only say it's the best that you've found, or you like it more than others. You
know what? You've hit on something there about the best agents always the most open-minded, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think that's a really good phrase. I like that.
Yeah, and it is a big problem in our industry. The more I speak and see more agents, is that they have change is a big thing, I think, in our industry.
You know why? Change requires work. Change your mind, your business. It requires work. And some people, if they're that sort of, listen, there's some estate agents shouldn't be estate agents.
No,
they should do something else, because life's short. And it's the same like any job. Once you get to it, I said to Gary the barber's resigned, by the way. JP,
sure.
You know, I know. Yeah. Well, I don't know whether it was something I said, because, like, he was telling me his shops was looking really tired. And I was sitting there one day and he was like, he's moaning and moaning. I said, Gal, I ain't being funny, mate. You should do something different, because it seems like you've lost your passion for it.
No
2 months later, he's become a driving instructor.
No way.
Yeah. The shop's closed, bosh. I'm now going to see Jimmy the Turk. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. So basically, when we see everybody, like, with afros walking around your place, we know who to blame. It's Jerry Lyons.
Oh, no. What it is,
the Barbara Whisperer.
And again, this is where somebody that's more hungry and willing to market and get better will nick all your business. And I think that's what's happening to him. A Turkish barber's opened up. Nigel Farage would love it. Turkish barber's opened up in town. They do cash only. Brilliant. And you go there, you get Turkish coffee. The guy, he does all that. He does I haven't had it yet, but they do the ear.
And he does that. Yeah, we've got one up here. I go up now and again.
And it just shows you that there's always room for another good one.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of barbers in our town. There's a lot of estate agents in our town. Now, I'd imagine it's the same where you are. But there's always space for another good one. Because, like you said, JP, there's a lot of shit out there. Whether it's estate agents, barbers, you name it. There's a lot of not good
tradesmen, anything. There's a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. I just think you just need to have minimum levels of standards. is in anything in life, have minimum levels, minimum standards. We played cricket on Saturday, and we got absolutely trounced. Bad day at the office, but we kept talking about standards. Now, unfortunately, some of the lads fell well below the standards, and their attitudes were shit. But it was a case of just have a standard, like, you know, walk in when the ball is, give it your very best. Like, you know, and I said it before, how you do the little things is how you do everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
the attitude there, the thing you said there is really illuminating, that some of them had shit attitudes. Because like the thing that Charlotte gets drilled into her by me and Wendy and by her coaches are, the only thing you can really guarantee is that you'll work hard. You can't guarantee you're going to play well, but you can guarantee you're going to, like you said, be on time, prepare well, make sure you've got, like she's 12, bless her, like water bottle filled, make sure you're wearing the right kit, make sure you're wearing shin pads for some of them because they're a bit scary. So like, yeah, these standards is fascinating. Yeah.
It is. Right, gents, we've been going for 36 minutes, so should we wrap up there?
That this week.
Good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
Very quick.
Good. Excellent. All right, well, listen, thanks everyone for watching, and see us next time on the Three Amigos.
I'm off to buy some steroids.
Have a good one. See you later.
Bye. See you later.